Just watching the Mets right now. They have a 3-run lead, so that's probably safe. So probably hang on to win that game against the Braves right now. I'm watching on SNY. Lots cooking, though, Evan. It appears that you and your I'm sorry, they're going to blow another 3-run lead?
4-run lead.
No, that's not going to happen. It seems today, Ev, throughout the entire day on this radio station, and I can tell by your posture right now that you and your fellow brethren are having a very tough day. And I'm trying to figure out.
What are you trying to figure out? I'll help you out there, pal.
I want to know.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
As we rank the things we're angry about today.
Oh, that's easy.
Are we angry solely because they got swept by the Braves and blew a 3-run lead in every single game? Are we upset that afterwards your manager came out and said, I'm proud of them? Mm-hmm. Are you upset that Verlander followed in the footsteps of Max Scherzer and not giving you a solid pitching performance in a game you had to win?
Right.
Or is there a deed that I'm missing?
Oh, you want to forget giving up a home run with 1 out in the 9th inning up by a run? You want to forget about that one?
Well,
you want to forget
that's
about
part of blowing a lead.
You want to forget about bases loaded, 1 out in the 9th inning? You want to forget about that? You want to forget about everything's great with Pete Alonso, but oh, wait, let's send them back to New York City for an MRI. Want to forget about that? Want to forget about Tommy Hunter kind of giving us a little thought of, I may get through the 10th inning. Yeah. And then Ozzie Albies hits one to orbit. You want to forget about that one? But I'll answer your question. All of those things piss me off and hurt my soul. But if I had to pick one.
Yeah, there you go.
And to me, it's not even close. It really is not that close. It's the fact that those two relics, those two stiffs, those two Hall of Famers, those two mercenaries, those two $45 million men, those two guys who are supposed to represent the strength of the New York Mets, a 1-2 punch for the ages, they have both come up so small in the biggest of spots. For Scherzer, we've gotten used to it. For Justin Verlander, just close your eyes, Justin. It's just like the World Series, isn't it? Just like he has sucked his entire career come late October, he made his first significant start as a New York Met. And for the 3 innings that he graced our TV screens, he was abysmal. So, yeah, there were a lot of other things that pissed us all off, that broke our soul. But those two and here's what really kills me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, and I apologize, because this shouldn't affect you.
Do what you got to do.
This affects me with Aaron Rodgers. I'm being dead honest.
Oh, you're taking your...
Yeah, because
You're going through osmosis out of 2 older players who had great careers, couldn't get it done here. Why do we blindly believe that Aaron Rodgers will?
Aaron Rodgers, about in the last 45 minutes, said something that a week ago I would have been like, tickled fancy about. This is the best 6 weeks of my life. This is great. I'm throwing dimes to Garrett Wilson. But then I think of Verlander, that's stiff. And I think of Scherzer, that stiff. I think of Durant, that quitter. I think of all the superstars that have come to this city in the last few years as hope, as the beacon of they're going to bring a championship. And they've all failed. All of them. So what's really pissed me off about this sweep at the hands of the Braves is that not only does it kill me as a Met fan, not only were these losses bad and painful, and then the manager says, I'm proud, and the organization tells us Pete's fine, oh, wait, he's not, but it's even seeped into my love of the Jets, Craig. The Mets are killing me. They're killing all of us. And we're going to all get sucked back in tonight. Ooh, it's Mets-Pirates. We can turn the season around. Just think about the 19 Nationals. Just think about last year's Phillies.
Yeah, well.
And we're all going to watch. And then we're all going to get kicked in the balls again. Because that's all this season has been. That's all this 3-game series was. So did I answer your question, pal?
So you're having a tough day.
A little bit.
Hey, Big Mac, how you doing today? As the Yankees are 10 games over 500, and while Rizzo ground down to that game-ending double play, which really burnt my chops yesterday, came back with a great pitching performance from a young guy that you had no expectations of really being an active part of this rotation this year.
Yeah.
They salvaged the last game. Certainly not good enough, but they salvaged the last game.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone gave you a taste of your own medicine.
Yeah, they scored.
In regards to not knowing when Aaron Judge is coming back and getting a little bristly at the media for demanding a date. But you 10 games over
listen,
500.
I'm feeling good. They're one bad performance from King away from winning both of those games yesterday. We're
There you
dealing
go.
without Judge. They'll be fine. The
Things
Red Sox
seem
come in.
pretty-
Things seem pretty good.
Pretty good.
I like my manager. I like my team. Things are going well.
Yeah, Red Sox are a game under 500 in last place.
Yep.
But it's still Yankees Red Sox, of course. You get national TV on Saturday. You got the Yankees fighting in game 3 to at least salvage one game in the series. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, things are really deteriorating quickly.
Yeah.
And I
Not
would
going
think,
well.
that every Met fan, when they heard Buck Showalter give you the old participation trophy crap last night, I'm proud of them.
That was a bad one.
We scored 10 runs without Pete Alonso.
That was, look, Buck has made a lot of decisions managerial-wise that we have criticized, that we have attacked, that we have been confused by.
Now, those are two different things. A
Very
tactical
different.
error,
Very
you
different.
criticize it.
Very different.
And here's my problem with it. And I feel for you today if you're a diehard Met
No,
fan.
you don't. Don't lie to me.
I feel for you.
No, you don't.
Because it's a tough sledding if you're a Met fan. I feel for you because we don't need managers to kick dirt in umpires' faces and go on these crazy Lou Piniella type tantrums. We don't need that.
Right.
But what you do need, and I'm probably over going to sell it a bit, so I'll own that. Like when we all love how Aaron Boone gets himself thrown out of games, fighting for his guys, typically the judge strike zone, right? But we appreciate the fire in his gut to do it, whether it helps someone or not, immaterial. When you get swept by the Braves, I don't care how you cut it, and as you said, your two big guns come up small in the two games back-to-back, Scherzer and Verlander last night, and you lose a heartbreaker in extra innings on the 3-run home run by Albies, and your manager comes out, it'll be all right. I'm proud of the way the guys play.
Tone deaf. It's tone deaf.
It's like you have no and here's the thing. He of all managers, he did TV in this town.
If you feel like this veteran-laden team needs to have their hand held and they need positive reinforcement, go do it behind the scenes. But the last thing any Met fan wants to hear after that kind of loss, a soul-punching loss, is for this manager to tell us. Because when you talk to the media, you're talking to us.
Right.
You are
That's right.
communicating with fans.
That's right.
You cannot communicate to Met fans that you're proud of them. But again, if you feel as the manager of a team, hey, the best way I can get the most out of these guys is to hold their hands and give them back massages, tough love's not going to work on this team. Fine. Do what you got to do behind the scenes. But in front of all of us, you cannot tell us after the game, I'm so proud. Because none of us are proud we're sick. None of us are proud we're disgusted. Like, do you understand what the Mets somehow pulled off over the last 3 days? I'll explain it to you. You know how they got swept last year in Atlanta?
Yep.
First week of October?
Yep, it was a big deal.
Remember that? Yeah. They found a way to get swept in a more pathetic, embarrassing way in their next visit to Atlanta, Georgia. They found a way. The fans are laughing at the Mets. The fans are cheering Pete Alonso getting hurt. The Hall of Fame crew that they had last night, none of you saw this, good for you. Chipper Jones, John Smoltz, Tommy Glavine, Frank Core, who doesn't belong in the booth. He's nowhere near a Hall of Famer. He needs to buy a ticket. They did the broadcast for the Braves last night. They had a good old time. They were laughing. They were chuckling. It was great. It was embarrassing what happened over the last 3 days. Forget about where it leaves you mathematically. You're 3 games under 500. You're buried in the National League East, but you managed to blow leads every single game.
Matter of fact, they've never done that in the history of the franchise. 3 straight games with 3-run leads or more and lost all 3. It's never happened
Nobody's proud of that.
Yeah, no, your manager
Nobody's proud of that.
He just set a team record. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and they also blew their first lead after 8 in a million years.
Yeah.
Nobody's proud of that. That may have been one of the most tone-deaf comments I've heard. Now, ultimately, does that piss me off more than the stiff Justin Verlander? No. Does that piss me off more than the stiff Max Scherzer? No. Because here's the reality I want everybody to understand. It's very, very simple. I don't care about this manager. Forget the lineup. Forget everything. If those two relics can't pitch like they're supposed to, the season has no chance. It has no chance. They are the two most important cogs in the Mets turning this thing around. They have to be really good. And forget really good. Max Scherzer couldn't wait to blow a lead 2 nights ago. Verlander couldn't get through 3 innings last night.
Right.
Those two guys will sink this season faster than anybody else.
877-337-6666. For those of you who are lucky enough to have a ticket to our comedy event on Monday night, that should be an interesting night with Evan and Roberts in the building. And typically the entire Met roster there to support their best player, Pete Alonso. I did see reports that the initial x-rays were negative, which is great. We all saw those reports. But there are a lot of reports out there circling now, although I have not seen anything official, that Pete may be out a little bit longer and may wind up on the IL.
All right, so here's why the New York Yankees know what they're doing, and all you Yankee fans that were attacking Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman the last few days actually need to apologize. All right, here's why. They don't know what's up with Aaron Judge. They don't. Aaron Boone lost it yesterday on the media.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I don't have a timetable,
He's like,
guys.
the guy just got a shot in his toe. I can't give you a date when he can walk. We'll tell you.
Now, I understand why everyone wanted to know. We all want to know. So the other night when Pete Alonso gets drilled by Charlie Morton, and we're all nervous, we're all freaking out because we know how tough Pete is, and for Pete to be in that kind of pain, walk off the field immediately, it was very, very concerning. But in the fourth inning of this game, may have been the fifth, I apologize, all of a sudden, like an angel from the sky, Steve Gelbs came on our television. He actually did it in a big spot. And he told us, as he phrased it, good news, play this clip.
Okay.
Guys, really quickly, good news on Pete Alonso. X-rays were negative. He's got a contusion and it's considered day-to-day.
So he's got a bruise, bone bruise.
Yep.
Yeah, day to day. Good news, day to day. Good news, day to day. Now, I don't know about you. This is just me. When I hear good news day to day, I think he'll miss a game or two and he will be back.
That's fair.
That is good news day to day.
Yeah.
So-
now, to be fair to Steve Gelbs was told that directly by someone with the Mets, so I don't want to throw Steve under the bus.
No.
He's in a spot where he went to a trainer or someone and said, what were the results? Maybe a spokesperson.
This is the Mets. This is not Steve.
I just want to be fair about
Yeah,
that.
Steve, if you're listening, not you. All right? It may sound like
Steve
I'm hating
actually
on
was
you.
doing his job, and that's the information he was given.
No issue.
Yeah.
You were the person telling me the information, so I heard it from
Plus,
you.
if Steve plays his cards right, he's doing play-by-play for a Super Bowl in a couple of years. So
It's on the table.
Stevie's my guy.
So we go from good news day to day. I almost forget about Pete for a second. Like, all right, couple of days, we'll be fine. To he's going to New York for an MRI, and Buck throws in, think he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. Okay? MRI, but don't worry, Craig, in the lineup tomorrow.
You guys have that audio? You should get that audio. Because to me, that's worse than I'm proud of my team.
Then
Maybe it's not
we
worse.
find out it's not worse. But whatever, I'll let that go.
I'm thinking about it in the moment. Not worse.
And then we go to injured list. Now, we haven't heard a follow-up update. I'm sure we'll get it soon. But we went from day-to-day good news to MRI to New York, probably in the lineup tomorrow, to the injured list?
Now,
Like, how
those
is
are-
this?
yeah,
How
tho-
did this happen?
Well, those are rumors out there, of course, but rumors have some kind of a starting point. The rumors are, from multiple different places. So if you take the rumors' word for it, that Pete's going to be out for a week and a half, maybe longer, right? But it tells you what? There's no reason why you have to rush a bad answer out there. You can simply say, guys, he got hurt 20 minutes ago. We have no idea how his body's going to react.
We don't know.
Now, I'll tell you this, though, and I think it's quite obvious what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
If you rewatch Charlie Morton hitting him, which, again, was not done on purpose, but he does hit him and apologize in person afterwards, if that means anything to anybody, Pete wears a protective covering right where he got hit.
Yeah, the ball hit the protective covering.
If we accept for the moment that there are no breaks in the wrist, the hand, the thumb, or any of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have to accept. That's what they told, so I'm going to accept that's accurate. Could you imagine what would happen if he wasn't wearing that protective gear?
Yeah, be out for months.
It would have broken,
This
right?
is why the protective gear is very, very important. As much as it gives players the comfort to hang over the plate, I'd rather not see guys get hurt. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's on my team, not on my team. But what's tough is that we as Met fans have been through quite a roller coaster this season, and the last few days have been like one long giant funeral. It's been bad. To have the good news, as Steve Gelbs gave us from the Mets, turn into what may not be catastrophic news. Not saying it is, Craig. Not saying he's out 2 months.
Catastrophic would be We got an MRI. We found something the X-ray didn't find.
Right.
And now he's out for 60 days.
I get that.
That's
but
catastrophic.
I agree. And I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but it's clearly gone from good news day to day to an injured list stint. And we know what that is. And guess what? I got news for you. I don't give a crap what the date is. Oh, it's June 9th. These games matter. They can't fall 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games under 500. They're already 3 games under 500.
Well, even more than that, I know you don't have to win the division anymore. It's not all that important, but they are 8.5 behind Atlanta, and they're 5 behind Miami.
Craig, I said this to you 3 weeks ago. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
They have no shot to win this division.
Okay.
They're not as good as the Atlanta Braves. And that was my whole point to you. They're not as good as the Atlanta Braves.
So you're chasing Philly, Miami in the division, and obviously a lot of other teams throughout the
Hey, you know who
league.
they're chasing? They're playing the team this weekend, the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's who they're chasing.
Pittsburgh's 3 games over 500, and the Mets are now 3 games under 500.
Yeah, the Mets are 4 games behind the Pirates in the loss column. These games matter. These games are a big deal. And so to go from good news, don't worry, Pete will be in the lineup Friday, to an injured list stint, that it's a small thing in this whole kind of smorgasbord of Met crap.
Okay.
But it's up there.
So here, I know we talked about this briefly yesterday in our short show because of the Yankee doubleheader.
What?
Do you want to hear Steve Cohen say something? And is there anything he could say that would make you feel any better at all?
Nothing will make me feel better. This team needs to win.
So let me ask you a question.
Go.
Assuming Steve comes to the comedy show Monday night like he graciously did last year to support his best player, I imagine he'll do it again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I make the point of reintroducing you to Steve.
I have no issue with Steve Cohen.
No, I'm not suggesting you do.
You want me to attack him?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna. If you let me, I'll tell you what I'm asking.
All right,
you.
what?
I didn't even ask you the question.
Sorry,
all right?
I'm on edge today.
It's all right. Be on edge. I respect the fandom.
Thank you.
And you have 5 minutes where it's a one-on-one.
Yeah.
What do you say to him?
Honestly, I don't even know. Because Steve Cohen's job to me, when you're the owner of a sports team, is to write the checks during the offseason.
Do you say, when are you going to get publicly upset and make the statement that you're not tolerating this mess?
I guess I'd ask him more about that. But my looking at owners is, what do you do during the offseason? Are you writing the checks to try to help your team win?
Well, he certainly did that.
So my anger right now is not at Steve Cohen. My
I want to
anger
be clear.
is
I'm
at the underperforming players that they bought.
I was at no point suggesting that you should be angry at Steve. I'm not suggesting
So you're
that.
asking me, what would I talk to him about?
But, I mean, we are in a town with some very vibrant, well-known, active owners who, for good and bad, have invoked themselves into decision-making because they're not happy with what they see.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're right either, obviously. But I think there's a portion of the Met fan base, and again, this doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
But I think Met fans want to hear from the owner.
You know what Met fans want? And I think this is a scary thought, and I kind of get it when you're desperate and you look at this roster and you see it not turning around. What you guys want, like we all wanted George Steinbrenner out of Steve Cohen. And when it comes to spending, he's given us that.
No doubt about it.
But you know what you guys want now? You bloodthirsty Met fans? You want late 80s George Steinbrenner. That's what you want. You want mid-'80s George Steinbrenner. You want the George Steinbrenner that didn't win a damn thing. You want the George Steinbrenner that fires a manager quickly. You want that George Steinbrenner. And by the way, I understand because you look at this team, you look at the failures, and you ask a very good question. What else can we do? It's a great question. Yeah. No one has an answer to it, so the easy answer is blood. The easy answer is
fire the manager.
Fire people, specifically the manager. And that's what 80s George Steinbrenner did. And guess what it led to? Nothing.
Well, they did have the winningest record in the decade, but if they did not win titles.
They didn't make the playoffs after 1981.
I know.
Like, they didn't win.
I know.
So I get why people want it, but ask yourself, what's it going to do? Like, is that the answer?
I think right now, to quell the what's the word I'm looking for? The desperate emotions that Met fans have. I think this is where a leader steps up and says something.
You know what I would do? If I was going to do anything, and I'm not even saying this would work, I would be more, I guess, open to what Steve Phillips did in 1999 than firing Buck. And what he did in 1999, and it worked, by the way.
Did he trade everybody to Brooklyn?
No. No. Steve, were you talking about Billy King?
You're funny.
Steve Phillips. Now, remember Bobby Valentine took over late 96, had a surprisingly good year, non-playoff year 97, and they choked like dogs in 98. That's the track record of Bobby Valentine. 1999, they spend a lot of money. They were off to an average start. Steve Phillips decided to go to Bobby Valentine and cut off his knees.
He got rid of his coaches.
He got rid of his coaches.
Yeah.
And basically said, all right, look, you're still in charge, but understand how hot your seat is. All your coaches that you love, they're gone. If you want to try something desperate, if you want to try something to give you the blood that the Met fans want, I'd be more open to something like that than just taking the manager who won Manager of the Year last year and made a incredibly tone-deaf comment last night and saying, let's just fire him. But I get it. We're all looking for answers when the only real answer that'll work is for those two fossils to show up.
Yeah.
That's what
Verlander and
works.
Scherzer.
That's what works.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a combination. It's those guys not pitching or playing well, and the manager being completely tone deaf to a city that he should know better by now. Having managed both for both teams, having done TV work here as well, the fact that he comes out recognizing that Rome is burning and gives us the old, I'm proud of them. We're not talking about little leaguers here. This ain't your kid in T-ball. It's not a high school game. These are guys that have over $300 million payroll. What are you proud of? They ain't nothing to be proud of right now in the moment. And that is a bad line, and that's the kind of line that puts a rope around your neck.
You know who should be proud? Brian Snitker should be proud. His team had already won the series. They could have looked at that game against the Mets in Game 3 and said, we're done.
We're good.
We won the series. We're in control of the East. We're down by 4 runs. Spencer Strider got pounded. Hey, fellas, not our night.
Yeah.
And you know what the Atlanta Braves did? They kept fighting back. So if anyone wants to be proud, let Brian Snitker be proud. Buck Showalter should be proud of nothing. This team has lost 6 in a row. This is the longest losing streak this franchise has had in 4 years. And this week in Atlanta was an embarrassment. There is nothing to be proud of.
877-337-6666. Lots cooking today on what I thought was going to be an enjoyable Friday, but just looking around, and so it's, Big Mac and I are the only two guys smiling around here. You're upset. Tommy's upset. All the other Met fans in the hallway are upset. Like, guys, you got swept by the Braves. Get used to it. That's what you do.
We are used to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, what?
It doesn't sound it.
This is something new for you? Like, this is who you are.
Yeah, you know what's new? Yeah. Blowing 3-run leads with fossils who are going to the Hall of Fame. Like, that's the new part.
Yeah.
Losing to the Braves? Dude, that was my teenage life.
Now, Alvarez hits a 2-run home run last night to extend the lead to 3, made it 8-5, right? And he'll probably be benched tonight. He's probably not playing.
Can you
tonight.
imagine that? Francisco Alvarez, one of the positives.
Yeah.
He better be out there every day.
50-50, he's playing tonight. 50-50, he's playing tonight.